The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Okay, hello everybody. This is Instructor Mark. If you're on the call right now, you might see that it says Tom Antion is the one speaking, but that's not true. I just signed up as Tom, and it is Mark. So, welcome to our live call. I know we've had a couple of these with Timberly, and I am going to be doing them now as well. And these are really just quick meetings to answer any questions that you guys have, cover a topic, a weekly topic, but it can be questions about really anything. And in order to do that, if you're familiar with the GoToWebinar software that we are using, there is a question area that you can type in any question, and I will be paying attention to that. And that is the best place for you to put in anything that you would like to know, especially regarding, in this case, screen capture software. So let's get started here. Today I'm going to be talking about screen capture software and what are the best settings for screen capture software. Well, let's talk a little bit about screen capture software. There's many different ones to choose from, and I can tell you a couple pros and cons to some of the ones that we use, and then you can make your decision based off that if you don't already have your own screen capture software. Well, depending on what kind of computer you have, PC or Mac, it's gonna give you different choices. Let's start with PC first. If you're looking for good screen capture software, of course, if you have already looked for it, you will know that Camtasia is the best. Is well, not the best, but is one of the industry standards. Let me bring this over on the screen here. Camtasia. It's by TechSmith. You can even try it for free. If you go to TechSmith.com, they have other programs as well, but the one that we usually use is the Camtasia, screen recording and video editing. Now, the video editing, I don't really want to touch on video editing in too much detail, but in my opinion, the Camtasia screen recording software is great, but the editing, not so much. Now, it used to only be a Windows-only program, Camtasia, but they actually have a Mac version. And I want to say the Mac version doesn't have as all of the features that the PC version has. If you look here, it's $99 for the download of Camtasia for Mac. But if we go to the PC version, see it's $299. There's many more options on the PC side of things. Some of those options we never ever use. Some of those options I actually don't even really know the difference because, like I said, we don't really use the editing. We just use the screen recording software. And for both Mac and PC, the screen recording software it has the same features. It's the extra stuff that the PC has, more on the editing side and effects and buttons and stuff like that. So if you really want to go all out, Camtasia Studio is the best choice for PC. But it's not the only choice. Let's talk about a couple other ones. There is a simple one that you might already have on your computer, and let me bring it up here, and that's QuickTime Player. Let me see what version I have. I have version 10.0, and on the top of my screen it says QuickTime Player, File, Edit, View, Share, Window, just like a lot of other programs that you have on your computer. But if you look under File, I have new movie recording, new audio recording, and new screen recording. Yep, that's right. You can actually record your screen, and it will record your audio at the same time using QuickTime Player. So that's a great alternative. You might already have it. And if you do, you can make a screen recording. It's not going to have any of the other features that Camtasia has, but it will do the basic screen recording for you, and then you can do the rest on the editing side of things. And that's usually how we do it. We record it using one program, and then we also edit on a separate piece of software. So QuickTime Player is perfect for Mac and PC as well. It's a little bit cheaper than Camtasia, and it will get the job done. All right, now let's talk about one Mac-based screen recording software program that I use all the time because I'm on a Mac here at the school, and I also own a Mac personally. And I use, let me bring it up here, it's called iShowU. iShowU, it's the lowercase letter I, here we go, iShowU. And a box comes up with all of these different presets Presets just means that it's going to record the screen in different dimensions, and I'll touch on that in a little bit more detail in a second, but I just wanted to show you the other things. We can record the microphone audio, we can record the computer audio, or both, or neither. You can choose what quality you want. You can, of course, choose the microphone input, microphone monitor, which just basically is the levels moving, so you can see that. And then on the video side of things, you can choose your frame rate, normal frame rate, scale, quality, compression, and so on. And then underneath that is options. I know I skimmed over the video, but I'm going to get back to that in more detail in a second. Then we have options, and these options let you show the capture guide. What is the capture guide? It's a rectangular area. I don't know if you can see that. It's very thin, but it's following my mouse. I have a rectangular area. Whatever is in the rectangular area will be recorded on the screen. And the mouse follow is nice if you're doing some small intricate stuff, or if it's very zoomed in. But if you have a larger image and you, for example, a website or a web page that you want to show and not have this thing follow you all the time, it's easy. You just have to choose to uncheck follow mouse cursor, and then it will stay in whatever area you want. And you can actually move it, adjust the size, and when you're ready, you can set that. And now I have a smaller screen. You can also, with this, you can also have a mouse click appear. It's a small animation that appears every time you click. In the screen recording, the click will appear. In this case, it'll show as a blob. You can also choose a halo or splash. And I would do it, but I'm scared GoToWebinar might actually interfere with it, so I don't want to do it right now. But just trust me on that. You can see a halo, blob, or splash if you click, and you can also choose none, which means nobody will see any of your clicks. So if you're doing any sort of instruction, I suggest that you do show the mouse clicks, because people will understand exactly how many clicks you are clicking and where you are clicking. Okay, so on the left-hand side, we have the presets. The presets, all they do is they're different dimensions, and they have different setups here. They will have, for example, this is Blip TV. Let me choose Blip TV. And on Blip TV, you can see it's highlighted 1920 by 1080. What does that mean? Well, that's the dimensions, the length and width. And you can see when I chose Blip.TV 1920 by 1080, the capture size down here changed to 1920 by 1080. So you can manually type this in or choose the preset. It also uses a couple other things. There's a Sorensen 3 compressor. There's many different compressors. There is frame rates. You can choose a different frame rate. This is a video frame rate. That's why it's kind of default. But any of these is also good for a computer, the 29.97 or the 30 frames per second. And we also have scale. Scale is 100%, that's fine. And quality, you can actually improve the quality if you want, but that means it's going to be a larger file size and a little bit more demanding on your computer. So you have to pick and choose. And there's many other ones. There's Final Cut Pro, which changes to a 4:3 instead of a 16:9 capture size, and so on and so forth. Now, what I like to do is I don't... I pick any of these. I really don't. It doesn't matter to me. I just pick any of these. Usually I pick a 16:9 version. And then I will go in and change all of these. And what I like to do is slow frame rate. I'm just going to make it 14. Normal frame rate, 29.97. The quality is pretty high. I'm going to bump it down. And then compression. This is important. Compression is important. It depends on what you want to do with the recording afterwards. Let's just say all you want to do is make a quick screen recording and pop it up on YouTube, your website, Vimeo, or anywhere else that accepts video online. Well, then you would really want, instead of Apple Animation, you want, it's going to take a second, at the bottom here, H.264, H.264. And if I choose that, it'll change. And what that will do is it will record right as an MP4 file, and that's perfect to upload. Also, be aware of the capture size. It's a pretty small capture size, but again, what I do is I can edit the recording area, and it's really large right now, but you can edit it to make it smaller. Let's see here. Here it is. See this little box? So the little box, whatever's in the box is going to be recorded. So the smaller the box, the more zoomed in on your content. Of course, the less content you have to show, but it's very zoomed in. And then, of course, a little bit bigger box is going to be opposite. Once you find the size you want, you can press enter. You can always go back and change it again, move it up, move it down. But once you click enter, that's it. It's in that spot. I also like to turn follow mouse cursor off. I like to show the capture guide when I'm recording. And I also like slow capture rate when not moving the mouse. Now, these options are only in iShowU. There might be some equal to these options in Camtasia and in QuickTime, but for the most part, these are just iShowU. But it's good to be aware of some of these. Now, what are these? What are some of these different settings that you should be aware of? Well, again, the capture size is very important. Make sure you're aware of how large or how small. Mouse clicks is important in my opinion, and the compression is important. Now, let's pretend that we didn't want to go directly from the screen recording software to YouTube or to our website. Well, then I probably wouldn't use H.264 because I probably would be editing at this point. And so I would need a file format that I can edit easily. Now, I say that because I could edit H.264 easily, but or I take that back. I can edit it. It's not easy. It's kind of a pain, and it's not the best choice. Now, for me, this is going to be different for all of you guys, I think, but I'll point out which one will work for you. But for me, I'm on a Mac, and I'm using Final Cut Pro, which is a video editing program. And so through all these choices, if I'm on a Mac, I would choose Apple Intermediate Codec. And that works very well with Apple and Apple's products. So that's what I would use if you're on a Mac. I would highly suggest that you choose this one. Now, what if you're not on a Mac? Well, for one thing, you wouldn't be using iShowU. But if you're not on a Mac, let me see if it's even available here. It probably is. Let's see. Most people, it's going to create an AVI file. AVI, or even, it might even just simply create a .mp or an MP4. So if it does, you can edit with that. It's okay. Most people will use AVI, and here you go, AVI format. And then your editing software on a PC will be compatible and be able to support AVI files. So that's how you would want to save it. The recording. Now, when you take the recording and whatever you do to it, you edit it, you cut it, you chop it, add some text, whatever you do, at that point, you need to save it as a file that is appropriate for the internet, if that's where the screen recording is going. And again, that's going to be MP4. MP4 is the Internet Online Video Standard. So MP4, doesn't matter if you have PC or Mac, the final video file when you're ready to upload needs to be MP4. Okay? So it can screen record in AVI or Apple Intermediate Codec, but when all is said and done, the final thing has to be MP4. Now, when you're making an MP4, this could be a class completely separate from itself, but when you're making an MP4, there's a couple things that you want to remember. I'm going to write down some notes here for you so it makes it a little bit easier. Okay, when you're making an MP4, first off, you want to make sure that the dimensions are some sort of 16 by 9 ratio. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, first off, let me zoom in a little bit there for you guys. Makes it easier to see. So what do I mean by 16 by 9? Well, I can show you an example. 16 by 9, most widescreen televisions these days and computer monitors are already 16 by 9. A television, HD television, would be 1920 by 1080. And if you did the math, you would notice that this is 16 to 9 ratio. Another very common one is 1280 by 720. This is a good one. This is an important one because YouTube and Vimeo love 1280 by 720. and it's still HD. It's just a little bit smaller dimensions HD, but it still looks very good. And you can use the 1920 by 1080. It will look very good as well, but the file size of your file is going to be larger. So for almost every single video that we put on YouTube, Vimeo, or our website, we want to make sure that it's 16 by 9, and I make sure that it is 1280 by 720. Oops, so make sure that the dimensions, let me spell that right, the dimensions are 16 by 9. If you're not sure, let's say you're not sure, there's many, let me get to it. And let me close iShowU because it's bothering me. There are many aspect ratio calculators out there. And let me see if this is a good one. They're all pretty, yeah, this one. So right here, this is I just Googled aspect ratio calculator. You won't have to do this often, but if you ever need it, it's out there. And I choose 16 by 9. And I always type in the width and it will calculate the height. Or I can type in the height and it will calculate the width. So let's pretend that I have a WordPress site that I want to put a video on. And my original video file is an MP4, just like Mark said. And it is 1280 by 720, just like Mark said. But it's going to go on my website. And my website is 5 something. Let's say it's 550. Okay. Well, there's a couple things that we can do. If we're putting it on YouTube, YouTube is smart and YouTube will let you choose whatever size you want to embed your video. But if you go another route, let's just say you upload it into your media library in WordPress, or you use Amazon S3 or some other options, then you might have to kind of finagle and kind of fidget with the ratio. So I know, let's say WordPress is 550. So I type in 550 and I can calculate the height. So it came up with 309, 375. I would make that 309. I would just round down, round to the nearest 309. And then that is the dimensions 550 by 309 of my video that I would put into my website. So and then nobody's face looks squished or extra fat or extra skinny. Everything is proportionate. And again, your original file is 1280 by 720. But once it's in online world, you can change those dimensions, but it is a good idea to keep that at 16 by 9. And if you have older videos, some older videos like on VHS, old TVs like the tube kind of TVs, they are usually 4 by 3. So if you have a 4 by 3 video, it's going to be interesting because almost everything online now is 16 by 9. So with a 4 by 3 video, it's not long enough. And some people want to try to stretch it. I wouldn't suggest stretching the 4 by 9 video. 4 by 3 video. You just have to live with black bars on both sides of your video. So for example, we got YouTube, black bars, and I'm sure there's an image here. Here we go. See the black bars? This video is a 4 by 3 video. It's not 16 by 9. Now this one is extra wide, so what they had to do is they had to make the height smaller so you could see the entire width, but they still didn't do it correctly. So try to avoid anything that comes up with black bars. Okay, so let's see here. We have the aspect ratio calculator. We have the black bars. We have the screen capture software of either Camtasia, and I'm going to write that down. Software. Camtasia. $2.99 for PC and $99, but remember, limited functions. Oops, not Mark and Mac. Then we also have simple QuickTime, which I think that's how they spell. Look at how terrible I am spelling. Usually I'm not this bad. Nope, QuickTime Pro. And we also have iShowU, which is, at the time I got it was 30. I think it might be 40 now. And that's Mac only. So we have these 3 options. There's your software. Record in any of those. And make sure that your output is some sort of 16 by 9 dimension. And that's very quick. That's a very quick run through of screen recording software. We use it all the time. You can make entire products using screen recording software. I've made many training products that I've sold online with all screen capture videos. And it just shows people, here's how to do this. Click here, do this. And that's it. Pay me for the videos, and then they get access to the videos. So, screen recording software, very important. We use it all the time. You will probably use it all the time. You might not want to bite the bullet and go for Camtasia just off the bat. You might want to try one of these cheaper ones first. And there are other ones out there. ScreenFlow. There's another one that I cannot remember right now, but they each have their pros and cons. Camtasia has the most pros. iShowU has the most pros for Mac. Another option that I want to cover really quickly, and this always happens when we try to, if we ever have to like improvise, okay? Let's say you don't have any screen recording software. You don't have iShowU, you don't have QuickTime Pro, and you don't have Camtasia. Well, you can get a little creative and use other resources. For example, you can use one of the resources that we are using right now. And what is that? Go to webinar. You do not need to set up, you do not need to have people live on the line to set up a meeting on GoToWebinar, and you can record the screen. So you can actually use it as screen recording software, and when it's done, GoToWebinar will either convert it to an MP4 for you or leave it in its native format so you can edit it. That's another option that it's bare bones, but it gets the job done and it will record your screen. There's other options to record your screen. You can use YouTube Live. That is a free service that YouTube offers all of its users. It records your screen. It records whatever you want to show. You do need additional software that actually will be used to switch from different screens on your computer, but YouTube Live will record your screen. And what's nice about that is it goes directly to YouTube. People can also watch it live if you wish. And you can also download the file when it's done. And then you have an MP4 that you can do whatever you want with it. Edit it, upload it somewhere else, and so on and so forth. So YouTube Live is another option. And then the smaller brother to YouTube Live is YouTube Hangouts. And that's what we were using for this class. And I'm a little ashamed, but not terribly ashamed to admit that I don't know how to use YouTube Hangouts. What? I thought you knew everything about YouTube. Well, I pretty much know everything about YouTube, but I have no desire to learn anything about YouTube Hangouts, and here's why. Because like I said, YouTube Hangouts is the smaller brother to YouTube Live. And YouTube Live, when it's being used and recording your screen, it creates a YouTube Hangout. So I can kill two birds with one stone by just using YouTube Live. But if I needed to, let's say I'm on the road, let's say I don't have my computer, if I really needed to record my screen, I could use YouTube Live, YouTube Hangouts, or GoToWebinar. And there's other webinar software out there that will record your screen as well, like AnyMeeting and possibly Stealth Seminar, but I would have to double check with Tom on that one. Okay, so that is it for this call, live call. If you have any questions, pop them in the question box. If you have any questions later on and we're not in the call, feel free to email me, send me a message through the school messaging system, and we will be doing a call next week as well. Not sure exactly what the thanks, Chella. I'm not sure exactly what the topic is going to be. I have some ideas, but if you guys have anything that you would like to discuss for the next live call, please let me know. Again, you can put it in the question box or you can put it in the message section of the school. Does anybody have any questions, even not related to screen capture software? If you do, put them in the question box. And we have Chella who said thank you. So I'm just going to say thank you too. I'm going to send it to all of you guys. And again, thank you very much, guys. I will be on email and the school if you have any questions. And I look forward to talking with you guys next week on our next live call. Have a good one. Until then, bicycle.